The awesome power of open E tuning. Today, let's get down a full practice routine. It's gonna look and sound like this. 1, 2, and... Let's break that down lick by lick. Okay, a close look at the fretboard, getting started with section 1 of this lesson. Tuning up to open E tuning. It's very simple. We're simply going to tune the A string, D string, and G string to match the notes that we have inside your standard E major chord in the open position. So that means the A string is going to be tuned up a full step to B. The D string is going to be tuned up a full step to E, and the G string is going to be tuned up a half step to G sharp. This is something that I've always found to be very easy to do by ear. I'm simply going to strike the open E string, and then the A string, and then tune up a full step. I should hear those two strings form a harmony. Of course, I'm still going to use a tuner to fine tune. All right, that looks about right. All right, now the D string needs to go up a full step to E. All right, and I should be able to hear those three notes falling into harmony with each other. All right, now if I strum through what I have so far, I have open E minor tuning. We need to make it major, so we're going to tune this minor third, G, up a full step to G sharp. Alright, and if you hear a little pinching sound when you're tuning, like I just heard, that means the channel that I have here on my nut is a little bit too narrow. Just a little side note there. Alright, and from there, we're in open E tuning. E, B, E, G sharp, B, Now that's a big shift for your guitar, so you're always going to need to fine tune once you get up into that tune-in. Alright, if it sounds like that, then you're ready to start learning this practice routine. Okay, now jumping into our practice routine, we're gonna learn a ton of cool bluesy licks, riffs, and also chord forms across the fretboard that you can perform in open E tune-in. Getting started with a nice little riff that'll take us into our 12-bar progression. It's gonna look and sound like this. 1, 2, and... Alright, one more time. Alright, so right there, we're on the 3rd fret of the D string. We're going to do a slight bend and then pull off to the open D. I'm going to pluck that with my index finger. Alright, then 3rd fret A, back to the D string open, and then 3rd fret low E string, with a slight bend before going to the open string and getting us into that first measure of the progression. Alright, one more time real slow. 1, 2, and... Alright, from there we're gonna play. Okay, right there we have a classic Skip James lick. I'm using all fingerstyle technique. My thumb is controlling the low strings, E, A, and D. And I'm gonna use my index, middle, and maybe my ring finger to control the G, B, and high E string. But there's a lot of preference to which fingers you use. Okay, we're gonna break up that first lick into 2 parts. Part 1, part 2. Okay, breaking down part 1, the low E string, followed by 3-0-0, making sure to stick a nice little slight bend on that high E string. Alright, then we're gonna play a double pluck. Low E string and B string together, again, slight bend, followed by the open high E string, and a nice little suspended sound there. A pull off, first fret of the G string, followed by the open D. And I'm definitely going to pluck that string with my index finger, followed by my thumb. Okay, so one of the cool things about open E tuning is the B and high E strings are still tuned normally. So we can still use little chunks of the minor pentatonic and minor blues scales that we have in our original tuning, our standard tuning. Okay, so that lick. Now, in measure number 2, we're gonna have a nice little rhythm. To get us back into that main theme. All right, let's hear that rhythm one more time. All right, a very cool Hendrix-inspired bend there at the end of that measure. Let's break that up into 2 parts. Part 1, part 2. All right, so part 1 there, we're just playing bass up. All right, right there, that's just an E major chord. We don't even need to touch the fretboard. Followed by a slap, driving my palm and my fingernails into the strings. Followed by an upstroke on an E sus4 variation, grabbing the 2nd fret of the A string and 1st fret of the G string. All right, so far you have 1 and 2 and 3. From there we're gonna play. All right, another upstroke on that sus4. A slap at the strings, open strings with the index finger, and then we're gonna grab 3rd fret of the low E string, all right, and bend it slightly. Let's do that real slow now. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and All right, and one more time just so you can get it into your ear. All right, the last little part there is a little tricky. Slap up, bend, E, and back into the main theme. Okay, so far you have line number 1 of our tablature, which you can download at patreon.com/Swiftlessons. Sounds like this. 1, 2, and... Alright, then we're going to repeat that once more. Alright, but throw in a nice little variation to get us to the 4 chord A major, or in this case, an A5 power chord. So instead of doing that 3rd fret bend, this time I want you to use your index finger and play 3, 3, and 3 on the E, A, and D strings. I like to kind of pretend that I'm holding a pick, alright, and use my nail of my index finger, alright, to get a nice bright stroke over that G5 power chord and bring it up a full step for the A5. Okay, put that into context and we have. Alright, from there we're going to take this chord up a full step. If you bar all 6 strings, you have an A major chord. If you just hit the low strings, E, A, and D, you've got an A power chord, and also every single power chord or major chord in the book. One of the coolest things about playing in these open tunings. Okay, over that A5, we're gonna play a nice little shuffle. Alright, before returning back to the E chord and the main theme. Okay, so grabbing that A5 power chord, we're gonna play and 2 and 3 and. Alright, the shuffle, holding down the power chord and reaching the ring finger up a whole step on the A string to fret number 7. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now I'm palm muting. I got my palm sitting right here on the bridge, and I'm pretending that I have a pick in my hand using the nail of my index finger. Alright, then I'm gonna slap the strings, play an upstroke, before going down a half step to that G5 once again to kind of create a little transition. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and into the next measure of A major. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then going back to the E chord. Let's get that last measure of the A chord down one more time. Let's listen to it. Alright, so there I played the power chord twice. 1 and 2, followed by a dead stroke, and then an A sus4 chord. Just add in my middle finger to the G string 6th fret. Alright, then I'm gonna play. Alright, so that was down, down, up, bend. And that's the transition that I need to get myself back to the E chord. Alright, you put those two measures of the A chord together and it should sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Alright, that's a great place to stop and practice. We have the 1 chord, go into the 4 chord, in that 12-bar blues setting. Let's play everything that we have so far. A 1, 2, and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. There I went one measure further. Measure number 8, we're going to throw in a great, again, Skip James style lick that's going to use this thing that we call the train whistle technique. I'm hitting the low E string, followed by the B and high E string, and then a slap of the strings. 1 and 2 and 3 and... So right there, I'm grabbing fret 7 and 8 of the B string, pairing that with the low E string open, before returning back to the open position and playing 3-0-3-0. You put that together and we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Alright, now just listen to it, get it into your ear. Alright, and I like to really drive through those strings. Alright, that's going to get us to the section of the progression where we're really wrapping things up. The 5 chord going down to the 4 chord and then resolving to the 1 chord. It's going to look and sound like this. Alright, and a nice little ending there on an E dominant 7 chord. Okay, so we started off in the 7th fret position, barring. We're going to do a downstroke followed by an upstroke. Again, I'm using the nail of my index finger. Alright, then a slap of the strings, followed by the sus chord. Add in your middle finger to the 8th fret of the G string. Alright, there I played down, up, down, up, down, doing a pull off back to the bar. So, up, down, followed by scratch, scratch, a downstroke and an upstroke, covering the strings so that way it's completely muted. All right, over the B chord once again. All right, now more or less we're gonna do the same thing down a full step for the A chord. All right, but a variation. Down, up, scratch, down, up, down, up, down, up, bend, 3rd fret low E string, before, Getting back into the main theme before finally closing up shop. Dragging that dominant 7 up to the E position. All right, so there, I'm grabbing 1st fret of the G and B, and also 2nd fret of the high E string. I'm gonna pluck the low E string, and then do an upstroke, bring it up a half step, and then finally, pair the low E string with the 3rd fret of the G, B, and 4th fret high E string. Now, ordinarily we'd be playing this with kind of this D7 shape, but the G string is tuned up a half step, which means we need to bring it back a half step. Right there, we have a cool way of playing an E dominant 7 chord in open E tuning. Okay, put all that together and we have the end of this practice routine. Starting from the 5 chord, I like to slide up in. And just like that, you've wrapped everything up. Now, let's review the entire practice routine, starting from that intro riff. A 1, 2, and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and up. Shuffle. Suspend it. The 5 chord. The 4. Alright, and just like that, you have a great routine to practice various skills using the open E tuning. Okay, great work today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to open E tuning and that these techniques are going to inspire some good songwriting. Remember, you can head to patreon.com/Swiftlessons if you want to enjoy today's lesson with printable tabs, Guitar Pro, and I'm also going to be doing a sound slice resource for this lesson. Big thanks to my existing patrons for making all these lessons possible. I hope you're enjoying those extra resources, and until next time, this is Rob coming at you from the Jersey Shore, saying happy picking.